Hey, business builders. Uh, Twice in one day, something has come up that I realized I should just make a short video and training about it so that I can share it with all of you. And that is uh, earlier today, somebody was talking about their employees and their well being and will they stick and will they stay. And it made me think of this. And then tonight, somebody was asking about client retention and training that could be done with the employees to help increase the likelihood of somebody staying and flourishing and maybe even doing more business with you. And I remembered that Warren Lewis would always say to me, Wayne, have you asked the SAM questions? SAM, Strategic Account Management Questions. And he taught us these questions. He taught my sales team to ask their current clients these questions. In particular, he taught the managers to ask their employees these questions and to write down the answers. And I remember one time, each of my sales reps, when I had a sales force of, 20-ish people, each of them would have anywhere between 40 and 100 car dealers that they were working with and serving. And I remember having forms and lists to go through and have them write down the answers to these questions. And maybe that was a bit overbearing and micromanagement. I don't know. But those are things I used to do as a sales manager and VP of sales, was encourage them to actually go have these conversations, get these answers. And these questions are intentionally a little bit like they'll feel hard and risky. So sometimes you'll have to coach your people through really asking them and not softening them up. And these questions are all, Warren Lewis was a Sandler sales trainer, and Sandler had this kind of way of negative reverse selling. If you look up Sandler selling, you'll see negative reverse selling. So it's a negative, like reverse psychology might be a way of talking about it, right? So these questions are ones that ask like the not or the negative or the inverse, except number one, because I think number one is, that was not one that Warren Lewis said, but it has always struck me that this question goes with the others. So you may ask your clients all of this. Like you might take them to lunch around the holidays and you might say, I want to ask you some questions like, thank you for your business. Thank you for working with me. Thank you for your trust, etc. Good to get out and celebrate with you. Now I'd like, I want to ask you some questions that will help me do a better job, is how you would frame it. Or you would ask your employees, I want to ask you some questions that'll help us do a better job, make sure your needs are being met. So the SAM questions are all written down here. What are we doing that you want us to keep doing? That's the one I don't think Warren actually ever said. But these other four were his. What are we doing that you want us to stop doing? Right? And that's a little bit, like I said, it's like this like negative. What are we doing you want us to stop doing? And people are more wired to be negative and say, don't do that, right? We know that. We're attracted like negatives, why the news focuses on the negative. Number three, what are we not doing that you want us to start doing? What are we not doing that you want us to start doing? And it may take people a little bit of time to really think through that, right? And then think back to when we started doing business together. Do you recall what was going on that caused you to switch or to work with us? So we want to take them back in their thinking, take them to that place, and try to remember what was bad about their other vendor, or what wasn't working for them, or what gap there was in their business that caused them to want to hire you to fill a gap. We want to take them back to when times weren't so good, because sometimes, we all take things for granted. We forget why we're here. So that's number four. And then five, what would cause you to take your business elsewhere? And we sometimes don't want to know that answer, but we want to like rehearse them through. And also what we're doing is having them make a mini commitment that they're going to stay unless you do this thing. What would cause you to take your business elsewhere? So back in used car warranty world, it used to be they would always say, well, if you don't pay a claim. And then I would always say, if we don't pay a claim, period, and they go, well, actually, if you don't pay a claim that I think ought to be covered, and if you're not willing to do anything about it when I call you. Okay, that makes sense. That we can work on. So, wanted to share with you SAM questions. Just wanted to go ahead and make a recording so that you have this to use. Thanks.